Welcome to our show entitled "A Global Food Reform is the Answer to COVID-19, Part 1 of 2. The COVID-19 pandemic has taken an immense toll on human lives and the world economy. In this two-part show, we will examine its cause and solutions. In a YouTube video posted on March 14, 2020, marine biologist Dr. Robert Carter, a senior scientist and speaker for Creation Ministries International USA, or CMI USA, in Atlanta, Georgia, USA, discussed how SARS-CoV-2, the coronavirus responsible for COVID-19, emerged.
You've probably learned that you have more bacteria in and on your body than you have cells in your body. That's a lot of bacteria, but you know what? You have even more viruses than you have bacteria. What? What are the viruses doing? They're controlling the number of bacteria in your gut, and they're controlling the species of bacteria. So what they're doing is regulating. In general, they don't cause disease. However, when they jump to another species, that other species doesn't have the ability to regulate this virus properly. Right now, there's a new virus in the world. It's a coronavirus. This is not a good thing. But what is it? It's an escapee. It's a virus that jumped out of its original created arena, and now it's in a brand new field, and the new field is called humans, and we don't know how to control it. Our immune system doesn't deal with it very well.
In other words, viruses normally are benign and species-specific, but can wreak havoc when they jump species. A pig coronavirus normally cannot infect a human because the spike proteins on the pig virus do not fit the receptors on the human cells. For a coronavirus to infect another species, its spike molecules would need to mutate first before they can attach themselves to the cells of the new host species, in a lock and key fashion. For reasons as yet unknown, such mutations can and do occur, enabling a virus to jump species. A disease that is transmitted from animals to humans in this fashion is known as a zoonotic disease. The current consensus among the scientific community is that COVID-19 originated in bats. Bats are a major natural reservoir of coronaviruses. Bats do not become ill themselves from the coronaviruses they carry, but can pass them on to other animals. Since humans rarely interact with bats, it is unlikely that bats directly gave the COVID-19 virus to humans. However, humans routinely interact with other wildlife and livestock animals. Genetic evidence suggests that pangolins are the intermediate host for the COVID-19 virus. The pangolin is the most globally trafficked mammal. According to the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, IUCN, more than 1 million pangolins were poached and illegally traded for their meat and scales used in traditional Chinese medicine from year 2000 to 2013. It is believed that the COVID-19 virus jumped from the trafficked pangolins to humans at the wet market in Wuhan, China in December 2019. Dr. Christian Walzer, Executive Director of Wildlife Health Program at Wildlife Conservation Society, tells us why the Wuhan wet market was a crucial springboard for COVID-19.
Some of these markets can actually have 30, 40 species, wildlife species, at the same time in the market. The animals are alive on these wet markets, so they are actually shedding. They're pooping, they're sneezing, they're coughing. It's just an absolute perfect cauldron of contagion and a breeding ground for new viruses.
Other than wildlife trafficking, animal factory farms constitute another significant source of zoonotic epidemics. The avian flu epidemic of 1997 and the swine flu pandemic of 2009, for example, originated in livestock farms. In those cases, viruses made the jump from bats to factory-raised animals, namely chickens and pigs, respectively, before spilling over to humans. Concerned viewers, we will now pause for a brief constructive message. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television.
Warning: you might find the content herein disturbing, but the truth must be revealed.
Welcome back to our program. Animal livestock farms have another dark side in association with COVID-19. Some studies have found that 1 in 7 patients hospitalized with COVID-19 has acquired a dangerous secondary bacterial, pneumonia or respiratory co-infection, and 50% of patients who have died had such infections. In those cases, the COVID-19 and bacteria work in tandem as a 1-2 punch. The virus suppresses the immune system, making it easier for tough bacteria to take control. As it turns out, animal livestock farms are the primary source of antibiotic-resistant bacteria, known as superbugs, which can resist the most powerful antibiotics currently available and cause devastating damage to the human body. Why are livestock factory farms highly conducive to the proliferation of superbug bacteria? Professor Lance Price, the founding director of the Antibiotic Resistance Action Center at George Washington University, explained in a TEDx talk in 2014.
When I see these factories, when I see these operations, I don't see factories making meat. I see factories making trillions and trillions and trillions of drug-resistant bacteria. No, the most diabolical villain could not design a better system for creating superbugs than the modern capo. You have everything you need. You have tens of thousands of animals crammed together in filthy, stressful conditions. You have bacteria, loads of bacteria, right, living in those animals, spreading between those animals. And then you have the magic ingredient. You have a steady stream of low-dose antibiotics.
As more resilient multi-drug resistant bacteria emerge from animal factory farms, we are running out of antibiotic treatments for deadly infections. Of even greater concern is that superbug bacteria in livestock farms present an enormous risk of bacterial pandemics. A prime example of a bacterial pandemic is the bubonic plague, the Black Death that wrecked Europe in the Middle Ages. Over the years, the ever-increasing human demand for meat and dairy has given rise to more numerous, larger-scale animal livestock operations, increasing the frequency of animal-human contact. Moreover, many of these sites are encroaching on bat territories, amplifying the risk of virus transfer from bats to humans. It should come as no surprise then that about 75% of new or emerging infectious diseases have their origins in animals, according to the US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC. This means that we could likely have saved the 40 to 150 million lives that were lost to the Spanish flu, HIV/AIDS and swine flu pandemics alone, plus untold related suffering, had we minimized our contact with stressed animals by leading a vegan lifestyle. The majority of those animals had their lives taken away from them because meat and dairy were thought to be a legitimate part of the food pyramid. However, the science of dietetics and nutrition has come a long way. A significant number of the world's most advanced health organizations and medical institutions have now declared that a well-planned vegan diet is appropriate for all stages of life, including pregnancy and infancy. These organizations include the American Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, the British Dietetic Association, Dietitians of Canada, the Australian National Health and Medical Research Council, New Zealand Ministry of Health, and Harvard Medical School. It is not just about health of the individual, but also the health of our Earth home. According to the prestigious World Watch Institute, animal livestock raising is the #1 cause of human-induced global warming. It is also the leading cause of deforestation, water and food shortage, species extinction, ocean acidification, planetary desertification, and loss of habitat for animals and humans. Moreover, as the crown of creation, we humans cannot, in good conscience, turn a blind eye to the fact that wet markets and animal livestock operations are a living nightmare for the animals and the human workers involved, flying in the face of the principle of love central to all major faiths. No matter how you look at it, a shift to a vegan lifestyle is a win-win proposition for all. Dear friends, we have no time to lose. As we have illustrated, we may be just one animal livestock farm, one wildlife, or one livestock animal away from the next zoonotic pandemic, which could be even deadlier, according to an assessment by top experts from the Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services, IPBES, published on 27th of April 2020. The report reads in part,
Our actions have significantly impacted more than 3/4 of the Earth's land surface, destroyed more than 85% of wetlands, and dedicated more than 1/3 of all land, and almost 75% of available fresh water to crops and livestock production. Future pandemics are likely to happen more frequently, spread more rapidly, have greater economic impact, and kill more people if we are not extremely careful about the possible impacts of the choices we make today.
One thing COVID-19 has opened our eyes to is that, collectively, we are willing to make drastic changes to our lifestyles when human lives are on the line. We wear masks, practice social distancing, stay locked down, and avoid mass gatherings. With potential runaway global warming looming large, no less than life on Earth is now at stake. This beckons the question, is it time for humanity to make one more simple but giant step? Embrace the healthy, environmentally friendly, and compassionate vegan lifestyle? The answer is clearly yes. And by taking this action, we can solve a myriad of devastating global issues in one stroke, including pandemics, chronic diseases, enormous economic troubles, water shortages, world hunger, species extinction, and climate change. Wise viewers, thank you for your company today.